How you doing, folks? You're watching Onward with Onrie Live, and I'm your host, Onrie Coffin. Today, I got two special guests in the house, but our primary guest is going to be Alfred Trujillo and Cara Nicole. I'm sorry, Cara. I mean, you're back, and you're coming back again this week, too. You're filling up all the slots on the show, and, you know, I'm just going to shut up from here and let you guys talk.
No, man, this is a conversation. We're gonna talk about stuff, right?
Yeah, so see, Alfred's missing something on his face, and that's because he tried to clean it up. And like, I'm seeing this as actually a trend across the country with men. You know, no one can really go out. People can't go get their haircuts or anything, but y'all shave your faces from home normally. How come y'all messing it up?
It was just like a facial mishap. Like, I don't even know what else to call it. I mean, like, it was like one of those, like, okay, let's make this a little nice. Oh, crap. Okay, let's make the other side a little. Nope. just kept going too far, and then like suddenly it's gone.
Dude, that happened to me when I initially grew up my beard. I was trying to even out the edges, and I went a little too low, and I was just like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna shave the whole thing." And so I did, and I was so upset. And then I had to spend like another 3 weeks growing it out again.
Yeah, the waiting is the hardest part. That is for sure true.
See, I think that having a stupid looking husband is the hardest part.
I'm like, I don't even have to look at myself. I mean, like, I did like glance by the mirror, and I was like, hey, what's up? How you doing? What's up, girl?
So Alfred, Alfred, do us a favor. Tell us a little bit about. I'm giving you guys a spotlight for a minute. You guys tell us all about who you are and what you do. Take the stage.
So my name is Alfred Trujillo. I draw comic books. I'm usually like just like chained to my desk, either working on that or I also do some photography. And my lovely wife here, Cara, she is a cosplay sensation. And so we currently have a book right now. It's called Confessions of a Cosplay Diva. Our previous book, FIREBITCH, also had a lot of cosplay elements. So we kind of like to combine the two and bring you guys like something cool from us. So yeah, definitely check that out. It's currently out on Kickstarter, and it did fantastic. Just like first day was our best crowdfunding day ever, and she's just been killing it. She's offering all kinds of like really awesome books, and so this was the one that that funded previously, and that we are currently shipping right now. This is actually our shipping station studio, and yeah, Cara, say stuff
And things, and yes, FIREBITCH was super cool, and we are really excited to bring you issue 2. But first, we do have Confessions of a Cosplay Diva, and one of the things that we have grown in is the cosplay / comic art, because you know, there's a lot of contention between cosplay and artists, and there's people that don't want cosplayers in Artist Alley. There's people who think cosplayers are useless, but there's people who love cosplayers and don't care about art. And it's like, no, man, this is like a merging of worlds. This is art and cosplay. We have the art, and then people want to bring the art to life, and that's where cosplay comes in. So we're really adamant about keeping true to that ideal that cosplay and art go hand in hand.
Absolutely. There's a lot of similarities in the two. The processes a lot of times are very like intertwined. So I've actually learned a lot about art by doing photography and vice versa. They go very well hand in hand together. And, you know, we want to bring you both and have everybody be extra super fans.
So Alfred does a lot. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you guys are a fucking dynamite team, and I want to tell you too that I got FIREBITCH in the mail recently, and
did you?
Yes, I did, and it was a beautiful presentation. You guys did a great job. The artwork in the book is amazing. Yes, I will.
Yes,
I really enjoyed the book. Look at this. You see, now I'm giving you guys all these props because you guys did a great job. And here's the thing, as a married couple, how is it working together all the time? I mean, you guys are next to each other every single day. You guys ever get annoyed at each other?
Well, so it's actually been a little bit hard in the past few days. We did just set up this whole room to be like a FIREBITCH sipping station for right now. And so Cara's been taking care of a lot of that while I do a lot of the creative stuff. And I just miss her, and I miss you, baby.
That's great.
I'm glad to be away. No, I'm kidding.
It's like that, huh? Okay.
I've kind of adopted this my second studio because I'm just in it all the time, and it's been weird. I'm so used to being with him all the time that it's like, where's my Alfred?
Oh.
So we're
actually, really lame.
we are, but we have in our main studio, our art studio, we've got an 8-foot table, which actually Alfred found at a garage sale, and it was custom made.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It has the hole in it for your plugs and stuff.
I made it be into like this workstation desk, and I figured it's like a hybrid between like a computer desk and like an art table. So.
We have like 4 monitors on that thing.
Yeah, we do. We have our little drawing tablets on.
We got like side by side,
and then we got like the big screen. She's got
big screen.
She's got like a 50-inch. I have like a 46-inch, and
yeah, you do. I mean,
she does color. She does color.
Well, there you go. But you guys are great. You know, this is. I think it's a really. I think one of the things that I really enjoy about what we do is that we get to move around a lot. We go to all these different conventions, and we get a change of scenery. And you know, like we're not always with the same people, but you guys are always together, and I can just see you guys are making it work. And it wouldn't come off this vibrantly if it actually wasn't working. And I think that's a really special thing. I'm envious of you two guys because my wife is the complete opposite. She's like, she wants nothing to do with this shit, but we come together on different things. And, you know, I think that's important too. So, yeah.
On that though, your wife, like she holds down the fort, and that's one of the things that we're lacking is that we don't have anyone to make sure the dishes are done and the trash is taken out, and you know, sweep the floor and put the chicken out and you know do these things. Putting
the chicken outside is
that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Well, you guys actually have a chicken, or is it a rooster? Chicken rooster?
You don't know this? Yeah. No, she's we have a little hen, and
her name's Lemonade,
and she's learned to use the dog door. She's actually in a lot of our streams.
So we can
right here.
We can lock the dog door, so we usually do that in the morning so she can have some time outside, and then just like later in the day kind of forget, and so she breaks in more and yeah.
If you don't lock her out, like she'll get into your room and like stand on you while you're sleeping, and then you like wake up and there's this chicken face in your face.
She got pecked in the eye once.
Did she really peck you in the eye? Did it hurt?
Yeah, I was taking a nap and she was standing above me and just pecked me in the eye.
It's gonna be like chapter 1 of like some kind of novel, like, you know, I was in a deep slumber when suddenly I got pecked away. Yeah.
So how many animals do you guys have?
We got a
lot.
Yeah, we have like turtles, and
we have 2 turtles,
and
we've got the big turtle and the baby turtle, and a giant ass goldfish that was random. That was supposed to be food for the turtle when it was this big, and it's just gotten to be this giant the fish.
So we used to have 2 dogs and a cat.
Yeah.
And at some point we were coming back from the Kansas
Planet Comic-Con.
Yeah, Kansas City Planet Comic-Con, and we found a dog, and we couldn't find their owner, and she basically just like got taken into like their pound, and so we were like, you know what, we almost hit this dog, and we couldn't let's go back for her. So we drove back like 1,000 miles, and then we actually ended up coming back with 2 dogs because some other like super friendly dog had been loose in the town and abandoned, and so we're like, you know what, and the little dog was pregnant. So at one point we went from 2 dogs to having like 8 dogs. How does that happen, right? And we actually named one of these dogs Alfred Jr., and he was like the absolute worst. He was like a little demon, and you know, it just made me so proud. So
we rehomed the puppies,
yes.
And we have 4 dogs now, and we have the chicken and 3 cats and 3 parakeets and 2 turtles and a giant goldfish and a partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
And you guys are on the road a lot. You guys, how many shows do you guys do a year on average?
Well, now it's 0, but I mean, it just depends, right? There was a time there where we were like really like just like hitting the road, and
the last time I counted was 2016, and we did 36 while I was running for House of Representatives.
So yeah, we do multiple shows a month, right?
Yeah.
And especially like come summer. sometimes we try to like daisy chain him, you know, like we're gonna like knock this one out and then drive to the other one and then do like a little tour before coming home. So, you know, it kind of works out.
Well, and Alfred's been kind of chained to the table doing sequentials for Jolly Jane. So I've been doing more shows on my own.
Yeah. So Big City Comics puts out a comic book called Jolly Jane, and they hired me at San Diego Comic-Con last year. And the idea is we're going to get this whole book done before this next San Diego Comic-Con, which like now isn't happening, but we're still trying to like keep on track with the schedule. And so like it's been I guess like getting back to the basics with me and doing more work at home, sequential stuff, and it's been fun.
You guys have been super busy too, because I mean, Cara, you and I have been talking on chat and stuff, and you know, you just got a lot going on with reward fulfillment, running this current Kickstarter campaign. How do you how do campaigns go for you guys overall? Do you guys go through the same middle hump problem that we all go through?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of like a time when you can prepare for the end and have stuff ready, and you know, it's like a good time to have people just I guess share your stuff if well
cool with that. We kind of have like a system, so we'll do a launch party. Mm-hmm. And that's always fun, and it's a digital launch party, and I think it's really funny when people are like, sorry, I can't make it, I can't get a ride.
Yeah. Oh, you know, I'll give you a ride.
Right? We start with a launch party, and before that, we usually spend a couple of weeks pushing the campaign link so people can get in there and know that it's coming and get that notification. And it's funny, we've got people now that will try to fight over who gets first spot. So people will refresh to try to get that number one spot.
Yeah,
it's really funny.
Basically, everything funds like just within like what
1 minute,
1 to 5 minutes or something. And
the last two campaigns have been 1 minute. The campaign before that was 6 minutes.
You know, something that I noticed in Alfred's bio, I didn't realize that you worked for Coffin Comics. So you guys know Brian Polito, I would assume. And
guy, he's like revolutionized the comic game.
He really has, and I really look up to him in the sense that, you know, that's kind of like the model that I like. If we look for a benchmark, so to speak, like I think he's kind of the benchmark for me in terms of like building out our own independent brands, right? I mean, like, you know, taking something and just really building this, like what he calls it, his fiends. You know, he's got his people that. So what do you guys do on your launch parties that get people so jacked up that they're coming to it? Because obviously you guys are taking something from it. You guys have experience working with him, learning from him in some regard. How does that? What makes the digital party effective? I'm asking for my own knowledge, you know, because I honestly don't know. I've never done a digital launch party before.
Well, I mean, so I guess like even before that, it's a little bit different when you're a writer or an artist. I mean, for an artist, it's kind of easy to like while you're drawing something, just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna like send this out and get people like looking at it and talking about it and getting kind of excited about it, right? So, and it's the same for cosplay too. You can post like teasers and things like that, and so it's kind of like building up to that first, and then once you have your date set, because you know that's very important to have your project approved and have that date.
Yeah.
Then you can start kind of like getting people like, hey, like, well, I mean, basically as soon as we knew, we're like, hey, by the way, at this date, at this time, we're gonna have this going live, and we're gonna launch this campaign. We did that for both, and this last time it was actually Cara's birthday, and so I had the chance to kind of like, you know, go a little overboard, right? And so I got her like some videos made, and I mean, I don't know if anybody else is doing that kind of stuff, but did you see that, like that little like newsreel thing?
The news report, yeah, and that
and so we put her video there, right? Like the video is super important for Kickstarter, so definitely have one if you're gonna have a Kickstarter, and you know, it's just like something that you can post that people can just like kind of like see and get a taste of what this is going to be like. So I included that in the news little report as well, and it was pretty fun, you know, like people like
I kept getting really messages with people congratulating me on being on the news.
Like,
well, and so like, what do you guys offer? What do you guys offer in terms of, is it is it exclusive driven, or is it just kind of like, hey, we're doing this Kickstarter, it's going to be fun, be a part of this thing, and help us kind of like cultivate, or is like what's the urgency on it?
In our case, I think that the big thing is that we do something that no one else does, and that is we combine the cosplay and the art in a different way. I mean, I've done cosplay covers for lots of different people and lots of different companies, and it does help and it's good, but because of the fact that we are writing this stuff, I guess I just think that we're going a different direction. Like we're big on keeping to the classic superhero, but we wanted to throw that modern twist in there. So the fact that, I'm coloring and he's drawing, I don't know. I think that maybe people think it's kind of odd.
And I mean, I think that's like,
everyone comes out for the freak show,
everybody really that you have, Cara actually has like just the most amazing and most supportive fan base in the business that I've seen. Like people just constantly show up, and it's all like they really feel like a community, like, and they're gonna build this thing, and so they definitely come. And we do have like a few incentives, like some like early bird things that people can have. And I think that like as we progress to and making campaigns, we'll figure out how to do that a little bit better. Like people just want to have fun, they want to have like kind of like an event and something to I guess like really be a part of.
Yeah. Well, and with Confessions, because it's not a comic book, so that's another thing. Our cosplay books are comic book size. So you bag them, board them, put it between your comics, hide them from your wife. And
super collectible, yeah.
Yeah, so they're gradable, they're collectible, so it hits the collector market as well. And I don't know if you saw this, we don't have a prototype, but we actually have a Billy Tucci cover.
Oh, yeah.
For Confessions.
Yes, I saw. I didn't see the actual artwork, but I did see the announcement for it.
Oh, Billy is such a great guy.
He is, but this is
solid, dude.
It's more than just a piece of artwork, though. So, we talked about how we launched this on my birthday. That was a birthday present that Billy had drawn for me back in 2012. Alfred
13.
Had 13. Yeah. Alfred had set that up. And so that's actually a drawing. I have the original that he did of me, and then Alfred inked it, and I colored it for the book. We talked to him and made sure like he was cool with it and everything. And so that's something that's very special. We launched it on my birthday, and then one of my former birthday presents everyone now gets to share in, and it's Billy Tucci.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love Billy Tucci?
I love Billy Tucci. I think I'm pretty good on the birthdays, like.
He is. Except I didn't get a cake.
Every now and then, like, I just won't even do anything for like a couple of birthdays, and then like, bam.
Right? But I didn't get a cake, and it was actually funny because you just couldn't get anything.
Yeah,
right
the COVID,
The COVID.
Yeah.
So I had a roll of toilet paper and a candle, and that was my birthday cake, because it's kind of a joke.
Yeah, Cara's been killing it with the going lives. She's just like such an online darling to all these people, and like it's just been great seeing her like blossom into this like ultimate form comic creator.
Well, and if anyone wants to jump in on the pity pledge, I will take a pity pledge.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So
well, make sure you guys put a link for your Kickstarter down in the comments section.
Yes, post a link
yeah,
for that. So usually our
do that
videos,
right now.
I'll be in costume and I'll talk and I'll like let everyone know what's going on, and then we'll throw in some stuff. But this time we just did a voiceover because the day before I was supposed to film, I got like smashed in the face by a dog, not one of mine. And I ended up with like 6 stitches and a broken nose.
She's like, I'm so hideous now, so look at me, and like you can't even see it anymore.
I didn't notice anything at period. I mean,
Well,
I think it looks more like I got hit by a dog than you did.
Oh.
I haven't come into touch with the dog in I don't know, a long time. But I'm just trying to break the ice here. But another thing I wanted to ask you. So, Cara, we've had you on the show before, and you've given us some perspective on how you see things from the cosplay side, and how you've integrated that into comics. And Alfred, you're right there by Cara's side, pushing your own stuff, pushing your art as well. How do you see it? What's your point of view on this whole on the cosplay world and integrating it into comics?
Yeah, Alfred.
Is this a question for me? I was looking for the link. I'm sorry.
This is your show. This is all about you, you know?
Okay, so I have seen like a lot of artists in conventions, and they really don't seem to appreciate having cosplayers next to them. And I guess that like normally it wouldn't be an issue, except that a lot of times the cosplayers get more attention than the artists do. And so like I guess there's like a little bit of like an ownership component to that, especially like in artist alleys and places like that. But like I see it a little bit different, right? I see it as like, you know, we can all like coexist. Some of the conventions that I've really enjoyed the most is the ones where it's not like super segmented off or like, you know, there's this area for this and this area for that, but just like where everything's kind of like mixed in and you can stumble across it earlier. So also like I feel as far as convention building goes that you can kind of structure your convention to where like some tables are a little bit of like empty space for people, right? So that they can have more of like not just the same thing like endlessly, but some things that break it up. And
Yes.
So I think that those conventions are the ones that like I see artists actually do better at, like financially, and the fans are able to like get something like super special too. And I think that having a cosplayer like in an area brings a lot of people that want to take pictures. And so like that's just where like your salesmanship needs to come up and be like, hey, by the way, like it's like, you know, cosplay fans, come over, take a look at some of my art of these characters that you love. And you know, it's you can tell it's been a couple months since we've been to conventions. I usually do it a lot better, but you know.
Well, you know, I the one thing I have to say too, Alfred, you have to have. I would imagine you have to have incredibly thick skin, iron skin, in order to be in that environment, because here you are as an artist, you are pushing your stuff, but you guys are also a couple, and you know, Cara is going to get a lot of attention because she's a cosplayer, and let's face it, she's very attractive. And there's also going to be people who are looking at her inappropriately, and this is not only your business partner, this is your wife, you know.
Well, see, she would say that there's people that are looking at me inappropriately, and
you know, I mean,
I'm sorry that I can't control this. I can't rein it
well,
up.
you know, I think the way you're responding to it is exactly the answer. Is you just let it all roll off of you, like you're like a river. You know, you just let it all just flow. And I have to say that's the one thing I respect most about you, is that you're able to just have fun with this, no matter what you do.
Well, I mean, that's kind of, it would be a mistake, I think, to be in this kind of field and like not have fun with it. You know, you kind of have to just like take it for what it is and just like enjoy the ride and like all these opportunities that like really a lot of people don't have. So I just see it as like, you know, my baby's like doing so good and people are like loving her stuff and getting pictures. And a lot of times like I'll get to take the pictures. So I make sure they're good pictures. You know what I mean?
Okay. So I'm going to jump in. No, it's true.
No, please do, because Cara, I can see how much, and I do want you to jump in. I could just see how proud he is of you. And I know just from talking to you, how proud you are of him. So please take it away. Take it away.
There are girls, and we call them Conrats.
I don't call them anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not.
It's a little bit of an older term. So Conrats are girls that are coming up. Oh my God, your art is so good. Like, I wish I could draw like that. And they move like this, and they lean over the table. And
that happens to me all the time. Oh, I get that shit every day.
Yeah,
even when I'm not at conventions. I know exactly what you're going through, Albert.
But women will do that. Women will come up and they will swoon over him. And like, if I'm not there and I see it happening, I'll just keep walking.
Oh.
I'll be like, oh, I'll come back in a minute. I'll take a walk around the block, you know, the block, you know, the artist alley block, you know, wait until it's over. Because one, I'm not going to like come in being all like psycho. And two, I find it funny. And if he's in an awkward position, I want to be close enough to like keep an eye so I can laugh at him, but you know, not get in the way. I'm not going to mess that up.
Well, there's nothing I find sexier. There's nothing I find sexier than being able to sell an attractive woman my book or anything, because it's just like one of those situations where it's like, you know what, I won't ever have a chance to date you because I'm married and all this stuff, but I can still take your money, and I will gladly give you my book, you know. So do those? Are you getting tire kickers, Alfred, when you're having those kind of situations, or are those people who are genuinely are they going to spend money with you?
We for the most part don't see it that way, right? It's more about like not just like making the sale or whatever, but you want to make the fan, you want to make that connection, and so like I mean, I guess you really just have to like be cool with everybody, and you know, like it's cool that you like me, but you can't have any of this. I'm sorry.
But there are
I love it. That's
they
great.
Following him, and they'll learn from him. And a lot of these women are like, you know, yours is the first poster I ever bought from a convention. Yours is the first piece of art that I ever got, and now I'm this huge fan, and I'm drawing myself. So it's like it starts off with like harmless flirting, but most of the time it turns out really well, unless it's one of his exes, because they all like go psycho. They all went nuts, and they would all like come around and want to check things out and snoop.
I mean,
and it was
can
really
you blame them? Gary's like,
remember that girl that called you and cried?
yeah.
Okay, what? Tell me this story. Who's this girl who called and cried?
Oh yeah, when the news broke about me and Cara getting together way back in
when we changed our Facebook status.
That's when you know
it's
right?
real.
Yeah. And so like I had a tearful, hopeful that like
don't look at me, look over there.
I was don't look at me, look at the internet. Yeah. I unfortunately had to unfriend, and so like it sorry.
So how did you guys meet? Now, since you're both here, I'm curious because you know, both in the con world. How does a cosplayer and an artist come together?
In the Phoenix area, and so
yeah, we used to have a ton of store
we used
events,
to have a
like,
lot of store events, right? Like way back in the day, just James Comics and a few others. There's a few comic book stores that are not around anymore. Pop Culture Paradise that got bought out and changed, and Heroes, yeah. So we used to have like a really big group of people too, and so we would all just like show up to these events and kind of like I guess like sell to each other's friends. It was pretty fun.
And then one day he invited me and a bunch of other people out to go to karaoke, and it wasn't like a dive bar. This was like big, fancy, like douche club. And then his friend got really drunk and picked me up and threw me through the DJ booth.
A douche club. This was a douche club, yeah.
Douche clubs are great. I mean, I imagine douche clubs. You know what was a douche restaurant? I don't know if you guys remember this, but we all had dinner together in 2013 at C2E2. That's when I met Alfred for the first time, and I'm like, who's this fucking guy? And then all of a sudden we start talking, and you know we're hanging out. You guys don't fucking remember it. I know you don't. But anyway, that's how I remember. That's how I officially
that was
with Dave Music.
Dave Music, right?
That was
yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Such a great guy.
He was a great guy.
So much for comic art in particular. Like, yeah, just he championed a lot of sketch ups and things like that. And yeah, he was just an amazing friend. So
yes.
Yeah. So if you want a confession, I'll throw a confession out right now.
Please
so
do.
You get a sneak peek of the book. But that year, the day before, you know, during setup, they had this big beer bar, and they would just give us beer. Do you remember those beers?
Yeah, Print Ninja, right? They set up.
I didn't get shit that year. That was the worst fucking C2E2 I've ever done. That show just fucking yeah. But go on.
Good beer. And Dave and I went outside on the back on the docks to go smoke. And I don't smoke anymore, but I would still smoke socially. And I barfed all over the docks. And after that, you weren't allowed to go smoke on the docks anymore.
That's right.
Oh, okay. So that, yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks to you. I can't have my. Oh, I don't smoke either. So.
I don't have any proof for sure that it was my fault. But I'm just saying, you just can't smoke on the docks anymore after that night.
But going back to the whole douchey thing, that night we split the bill, Dave Music and I, and that bill was so fucking high for the dinner we got, and like Dave and I were just like ordering shots and just like fucking around. He gets the bill. He was ready to pay for all of us, and I looked at the bill and I looked at his face. His eyes like just popped out of their socket, and I was like, "All right, I'll help you out with this one." It was that's my idea of douchey. I guess I'm trying to explain.
Well, Dave was a douche.
Yeah, he was a little bit of a player back in the day. You know, like yeah.
I love Dave. He was awesome.
Oh, we have so many Dave stories, right? It's like every single time that we hung out with Dave, like just like something weird happened.
And usually I threw up. Like there was a lot of times that we were hanging out with Dave and I threw up.
This was like, yeah, this was back in the beginnings before cons became more of a work thing rather than like a social.
But it sounds like we owe you a dinner.
Yeah,
well, I look forward to it. I would really like to pick your brains more about the business and everything. But let's talk about rejection for a minute, and specifically on Alfred. How do you handle rejection, not from customers? You know, you get people who, you know, we all deal with it. You know, deal with people who we try and engage them. They roll their eyes. They say, "I'm not interested." You know, do you have situations like that? Because I don't know. Like, what's your approach?
I personally feel that if it wasn't for rejection, like I really would have gotten like nothing done in my life. Like it's one of those things that just kind of like fuels me and gives me energy. And you know, like I just feel like I need to like learn from it, and like, you know, it's like a weird thing, right? Like even rejection from like I guess like comic book companies or even from like, you know, creators that you think are going to react one way or the other, then, you know, like that's something that like you take and you use that as like your fuel, like your rocket fuel to just like get better and improve. And it's all just like, if you see it all as a learning experience, and like there's never really any failure. It's all just about like moving forward and figuring out how to fix whatever mistake you may have made.
That makes sense. And right now, you're much more focused on the stuff that you and Cara are doing together. Are you still taking on freelance work for other publishers?
So I think that maybe like Jolly Jane might be my last sequential one that I do for other people
for a while.
But yeah, for like a little while, right? And so like we want to kind of like build up our own thing, and it takes a lot of time and effort, basically as much time and effort as any one person can give. You can put it into like a project and have it, you know, in some way not be enough. So but like other than that, I really enjoy doing covers for independent projects, and a lot of these people have become like just like my best friends, right? Like I talk to them every day, and it's amazing when you can also have like other creators out there that also do art, so then you can kind of like trade back and forth and you build this synergy, this community, and that's been my favorite part. I never had that until like just this last year, and like it's been like the missing component. So
yeah, you know, I really would like to collaborate with you guys for my next Kickstarter, Alfred. We should talk about having you come on.
I'm looking at some stuff. We're gonna talk.
Yeah, I would like to. And I know that you had expressed some concern about it, you know, but we'll figure it out. I know you guys are both like.
I always got to work around, you know.
Of course, yes. And I just because the one thing I have to say too, just throughout this whole experience of the pandemic and having to actually engage everybody that, you know, all of our contemporaries and stuff. The one thing I realize is that one thing that seems to boost Kickstarters the most is when we work off of each other's like built-in audiences. We can kind of like collaborate, find ways to collaborate with each other. I had Alton Simpson on the show last week, and you guys have worked with him. And you've done some very sexy covers for him. Alfred, Cara, both of you have done your presentations for him are just really great. And, you know, I think that all helps, especially when you can create some exclusivity behind it and saying like, you know, this is the first time, you know, we're collaborating, and like, you know, you have certain slots open for these kinds of things. Does it translate over well to other projects for you guys? Or, you know, do you have the same experience?
Yeah, you know, I do see some creators out there, and they seem to want to like just like hold on to their fans, and it's kind of like their thing. And like, I mean, I guess like that's like an okay way of doing business, but I always feel that like, you know, if you're scared in doing business, then you're not going to really make the right moves. And so having like cross promotion and then just kind of assuming that you have like an endless like amount of people willing to support you and back you is actually a better way of operating, because then you're kind of just like building that momentum, and it's almost like nothing can stop you.
Mm-hmm. So, Alfred, also you mainly handle sequential artwork on the work that you guys are doing together, and Cara is writing. How how close to Cara's script is your finished sequential art, and how comfortable are you, Cara, with any changes that have to be made?
This is where it gets kind of interesting, right? Because we actually create all the art and all the writing together. And we talked about our little desk setup right there, and it gets really ridiculous because we'll be working like basically on the same thing on two screens, especially for the writing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we're just kind of like putting ideas like on top of each other and like just like really weaving it. And I don't know if you can tell with FIREBITCH, but like a lot of it's Cara and a lot of it's me, and it's just like all like, you know, like very, very well like I guess like joined together.
Well, and I do the colors for the interiors as well.
Correct. And you know, as I'm doing stuff, as I'm doing like art, then you know, we're discussing that like for like all the layouts and everything, and finding out like what works better and like what we want to keep in and we want to take out, and we always like kind of like edit the script alongside that. So it's very there's a lot of like synergy that just like if we were not able to do what we do the way we do it, then it wouldn't be able to happen the way it happened.
We have a lot of advantage. So if you notice when you're a sequential artist, you get a script and it'll say 4 panels or 6 panels, and you get a lot of square, 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 unless it says something else. Well, we will go through and we really both try to push those panels. And so we'll redo things, and we have a lot of time where maybe we'll have 2 pages where the only thing listed is we know what's going on. And then it'll be like, okay, so Alfred, why don't you lay this out the way you see it? And then we'll work from there, move things around, and then and then figure out what we're going to say based on that. So some pages, if you notice, there's a double spread that you open up right in the middle where there's all those screens, all those phone screens. We can actually show it right here. And it's right in the middle. Is it? No, it's not. That's not right in the middle. It's not that one.
Which one? What do you got?
The taco one. No, this is the middle one. So like this one, because it was so, this one we did, this is another one that we did.
This is the flat earther one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you were talking about it, and I enjoyed coming across this scene when I read the book.
So we didn't have to really like write all that up. We talked about it and went through it and figured it out based on that. But this page, so we knew what we wanted to do, and I had laid it out, and then Alfred laid it out, and then I had laid it out again, and this is what we came up with. So we knew what we wanted to say, but we had the freedom, because we're both here all the time, that we could work on this together and create this setup.
So how does that work then? Like, he comes up with the layout, and going more into what you were saying, it doesn't work. What happens when Alfred does something, you're not happy with it, then you do something else and he's not happy with it?
Well,
how do you guys find that
if I feel super passionate about
we
something,
Thunderdome, okay?
If I feel super passionate about something, then no, Cara, I don't know. But you know, it just kind of depends. I mean, when you're a co-creator and like doing it like so side by side, you have to pick your battles and figure out like what it is that you really want to put your energy to getting across, that you really believe in, and what is like, you know, like, hey, if you have a better idea, then like let's roll with it. If you have a vision, then let's see it, let's bring it to life, and let's see if it works. There was one panel here that we changed a lot of times, and I think that like whenever we kind of like
which one?
Like, you know, I guess like end up disagreeing on something, we usually end up like having that compromise be like just like fantastic, right? And it's
yeah, go ahead, and then I'm going to talk about another page.
So like on this one, right, we got the introduction to this character, this alien girl. Yeah. And we did this one like 4 times.
Well, he drew her like this total sex spot, and I'm like, no.
You know, I was like doing like my Alfred thing, and she's like, well, I want something different for this, and I'm like, okay, well, how about this? And so, you know, we kind of like just
went round.
We worked it out, and like I think
she's boring.
I think it came out like super great the way that it is. Like it works like so well with like the different like aspects of her personality, and I think that it's just well,
I didn't want her
it was
to
great
be
that Cara
sexy.
Brought up that she wanted that changed, and so like, yeah, I mean,
I really didn't want her to be sexy. So this one was very interesting because even our letterer struggled with it. because nobody knew what Plinko was. Now tell me you understood this, Onrie.
I did.
You did.
Of course I did.
Of course, see?
Of
And
course.
he's like, well, we didn't have that in Mexico.
Yeah, so I grew up a little bit different background, and so I have some gaps in like my pop culture stuff, I guess, from like
I do too. Don't worry.
early 90s and prior. So
Well, and our letter is from Argentina, so he didn't get it either.
My letter is from Argentina as well.
Oh, very nice.
I didn't realize that. What part of Argentina?
I don't know. Who's your letter?
Joe Saavedra. He's in Rosario.
Oh, right on.
okay, our guys, Lucas Gattoni, I don't know where he's at in Argentina, but yeah, we gotta ship him some cops.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
So-
Dude, that's the worst. And you have to the cost on that is just and whether or not it even gets there sometimes it's so like ugh.
We got the hookup, so we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. You know, like
Yeah.
No,
So,
please do. I really want to know because that's
but
always such a
things
headache.
like that people just don't like understand.
But so like for the beginning of the book, right? Like you open it up and it's like immediately like just craziness. And so like I really believed in having the bad guy introduced like right off the bat and like kind of like set up like what you're
I didn't want that.
what you're in. She did not,
I did
want,
not
that.
want that.
And so I was like, hey, like look, let me just like sketch it out and then you can kind of see what it is. And so like I did that and it's like very, very subtle, and with it being in like the first page, like it really ended up working out quite well. I feel.
Did, but Alfred and I both kind of go different directions. He's very much like, let's tell the whole story on every single page and everything.
I
And I'm
want
like,
to get
no.
it. Like I'm like, don't bore us, get to the course.
Like, no, we're like, no, we don't need to reiterate every single damn thing. Like, people can fucking wait.
Cara likes to
You
make him
can
wait.
get there. I want to make him wait. So when we went to San Diego Comic-Con and he's showing like these kind of pages, not finished, but just the art. And he's getting.
Can you hold it up just a little bit higher so that our audience can see it?
Oh, there we go. This guy.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that was a pleasant scene.
They were like, he's
Pleasant for
boring.
him.
Oh,
He looks kind of stiff,
he
right?
looks stiff. He looks stiff. It's like he's dead in a page or two. Who gives a shit? The story's not about him.
Right. We kind of did that intentionally. Like you don't make every single character likable.
Right. Like
so
it doesn't
I don't
matter
know.
because he's not even a part of the story. He's very
He's
minimally.
a device. He's a device to move the
Yeah.
story forward. Right. Exactly.
So-
And he's also what is it? What's the word? He's not esoterical. What is the?
Oh, he's an asshole, Terry.
Yeah. Well, he's just like your stereotypical. And your stereotypical like hero from the movies, but he's really just not all he's coked up to be.
And see, yeah, that's one of those things that we really agreed on. We made him be like super douchey. So
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely. Very self-centered and it's funny because when you're showing these pages at San Diego Comic-Con and they're like giving you this criticism and you're like, but you don't understand,
Yeah, it's like
I think we all go through it too. I remember at New York Comic Con in 2017, there was this Korean lady who came up to my table. She was just staring at the booth. And I walked up to her and she's like, your book's about Yi Sun-shin? And I'm like, yes. And she goes, your perception of him is very wrong. He did not fight in battles. He was a peacekeeper and he was this and that. And I was like, well, actually he did fight. I did a lot of research. I worked with historians and all this. She's like, no, you did it wrong. And everything you're doing is wrong. And, and I'm just like, all right, well, thank you for coming by. And, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Please fuck off. Like I didn't say fuck off. I wanted to, but, you can't. But it's just like, when people miss it, it's always frustrating. But, I think for the most part, I think the storytelling in your case is very clear. I totally got everything. It all made sense to me. And I can see that there's a collaboration here. And, it's always rough. We don't always get what we want. But how do you guys find time to create? Because you guys are running a business. You guys are selling books, going to conventions, finding the creative, how does it look like?
Okay, so sometimes we got to schedule it out, right? And sometimes it's like when we're driving back from somewhere, it's like 1,000 miles. Like we usually like drive that like
Someone will have a
on average,
keyboard.
right? We'll have
Usually
like
he does. He types
we'll
because he types faster, and I'll drive.
And then sometimes
because I drive faster.
Sometimes it's like you get those ideas, and you're like, like launch your thing and just like dictate it into your phone, and then go back and edit it, and like so we just kind of like work it wherever we can. And there's days where it's like, okay, we got to do like a writing day today and get all this stuff done, and you just kind of gotta show up for it, Yeah.
But it gets crazy. Like we'll be driving and we'll start talking, and sometimes it'll get really heated.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't want that. Just because of this. And,
no, he would not say that.
He wouldn't say that.
He wouldn't do that.
But she would because of blah blah blah. It's like, I don't care.
Would you say the production process for you guys is also playful in a way, like in a sense that, yeah, you guys might be passionate about. Well, no, it's not playful. Like you might feel strongly about something, but playful in the sense that, you guys can express yourselves, but without going and attacking each other. Like, you fucking idiot! That's a fucking stupid idea. Where the fuck did that come from, moron?
We have. Okay, so honestly, we've gotten kind of mean. And that's where it is hard.
Especially after a show, too, right? I mean, like, who the fuck wants to work after a show? I mean, you're on your feet all day long, pitching, selling, doing whatever you got to do, and then now you got to be creative.
Got to get it done,
Yeah, exactly. So it's, but it's when the ideas hit, I mean, the whole thing started with him just doodling in the first place.
Right. So FIREBITCH was like, oh, take a look at this. Like, what are you drawing? Like, oh, I'm gonna make it be like an original character. And so it's like a fire character, and there's like outer space or something. And she's like, okay, I have an idea for that. And so let's post it online, and let's see if people want to come up with a name for it. So she's like, I did the art, took the picture, and then she typed up, okay, so this is the background story for this character. Let's see who can come up with a name. And like, we're thinking like nobody's gonna have any good ideas, and there's a few good ones. And so our friend Mike DeBalfo like is just like fucking around with us, and he's like, oh, you should call it FIREBITCH. So we're like, you know what, now that's gonna happen. So there you go. So
yeah. And I had one person in this whole thing on my YouTube channel say, FIREBITCH, that's a stupid name.
That'll never sell.
That's not gonna sell. Okay.
Okay.
I have concerns though, and maybe you'll know a little bit more about this, but with conventions not wanting to have us because of the name.
Well, that's probably just putting an asterisk or something on banners.
Well, so one of the things that I did is her finger where she's flipping you off is the eye in bitch.
Yes.
Well, I wonder though, because I mean, you guys have done so many shows. You guys have an integrated audience. It's not like you're displaying any nudity. The entire Kickstarter package. Cara, where are my nudes, dude? Like, no nudes in there. It's okay though. All right, I'm off the cuff. But anyway, my whole point is, it's not like there's nudes and it's inappropriate. Like it's fine. FIREBITCH. The kids are seeing way worse on the floor when they're just people walking around and talking. So one
of those words that like TV allows you to use on like regular.
And the costume is appropriate for conventions.
Absolutely. So. And look, your fans, they already know who you guys are. You've done enough conventions. You guys are on the circuit. I think people know exactly what you are and what you're pushing. I can't imagine that there would be a problem at conventions unless someone goes out of their way to create those problems for you.
Right. I think it'd be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any problems at all. Here's another thing I wanted to ask you guys. So, Cara, I've been picking your brain about this. So Tampa Bay Comic-Con is set to go. I am heavily debating doing it. In fact, I'm 95% sure that I'm going to do this now. And there's a lot of people who feel pretty split about it. But today they just announced that on the same weekend that Tampa Bay Comic-Con is happening, that Disneyland is opening up again.
Disney World.
Disneyland, not Disney World. So the LA one. So that's another mass gathering thing that's going to happen. and it seems like things are opening up. I think we're all hoping that the convention circuit will resume in August in full force with Planet Comic Con. How confident do you guys feel about that happening?
I've seen San Diego canceled, and then there was one later in the year in October that canceled as well. I don't know. I'm watching. My thought was to possibly watch out and see what happens and maybe do a few small, intimate, socially distancing store signings.
Yeah, because you can spread out your line there, and you can have it be to where, you have appropriate space rather than like conventions where, it's kind of like they have to sell like every single spot, and like social distancing table next to table, it might be a little bit rough. So
and people don't realize that for the convention owner, like this is devastating. There are conventions that will never come back.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so with Planet, they're doing all of these panels online.
Have you taken part in them?
No, not yet. I haven't talked to I've been talking to them. We just haven't set that up yet. So I think that there actually is a Planet Con Confessions of Cosplayers panel, and I think it's funny that, I'm not on it. I got the whole book.
You're like, I wrote the book.
Like, I wrote the book.
Well, as long as you get the name drop, that's what matters, right? I like to think that I'd like to think that Phoenix, which got postponed to late September, is going to happen. And I personally, and I think everybody individually has their own take on this. We all have to be very careful and very professional about how we restart this. But, I've already started, planning, how to tackle conventions going forward, because this is my primary source of income. I can't, and I know that it's very important for you guys too. And I think
some cosplays that wear masks, right?
Yeah, that's actually something that I am seriously considering, is having masked costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Costumes like even Power Girl. I have fabric that is the same fabric. I can do white with gold trim. I can make masks to go with my costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I can also hit up costumes that, that do have masks as well.
To begin with, yeah.
Yeah. So, I would think more of these supervillains would actually have masks.
Yeah, it's kind of a brand new world, and I guess I would just want to see. I wouldn't want to be at the first con out. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of issues with I guess customer confidence to go out. And then so like, how does that financially work out to have your travel plans, kind of reimbursed by the show? So like, it's just a lot of like moving things that you kind of have to keep an eye of and see what convention owners are going to set up as far as like, controlling crowds and things like that.
Well, we need to see what's going to happen as far as the next wave.
Yeah, the
next
going to
hit, how it's going to hit. Are we going to get more testing? Are we going to get antibody testing? Can you get it once you have the antibodies? I heard that's coming out.
I had my antibody test. I got an antibody.
Did you?
Test, and I came back negative, but I have just came across a number of articles this morning saying that the antibody tests are 50%, and they found that half of them are inaccurate.
I saw that this morning.
Yeah. And I at this point now, I'm just kind of like, what, Alfred, I hear your points, and I've been in situations, I think we both have, where we've gone to shows that have just completely bombed, and that there's just no attendance there, and yes, there's that huge risk of nobody being there. I think last year I did 2 shows like that I was hoping would be really big and ended up really sucking. And I still came out of those situations ahead, not making as much money as I'd like to, but still being able to do something. And my whole philosophy is that it's better to do something than nothing. And Cara, you've been a huge proponent of, encouraging me to do what I feel is right. And I appreciate that very much. And I also think that it's important. I also see where you guys are coming from to stay and see how things actually work out, because we both know, and I know going into this, that this is not going to be a packed show. This is not going to be a big money maker. But the fact that it's happening, I think, is also important, because if we can go to Costco, if we can go to Walmart, if we can go to Target and buy shit, if we can even get our hair cut, then why can't we go to these conventions if we're going to be smart and prepared to do them?
Well, I mean, I guess that just plays into like seeing how many people like cooperate and try to make it be a safe environment for everybody. And like, I guess you're not going to know. Every show is going to be different, and it's kind of a brand new world. But like, yeah, conventions really are more for the fans, right? And you do need that to build your fan base. And so it's going to be something that I think a lot of artists are going to want to like get out there soon. And so I guess it just depends on how it goes. I would just hate for there to be like some bad news like surrounding a con or like that. You know what I mean? And being a part of that is scary too. Like, you definitely don't want to be, I guess, like singled out online for being I don't know. Like, that would just be my concern.
It's just like being that guy who says who arrogantly marches off and says I'm not going to get this thing, and then comes back and tests positive. And that's something I have to consider.
You guys, like the two of you can still maintain a modicum of social distancing within selling your books, but you bring in a celebrity, and can they do photo ops? Nobody wants, LeVar Burton wearing a mask for your photo op.
That might be
but they're going from person to person to person to person to person, and they're photographing with thousands of people. So they're coming close, putting their arm around them, they're touching them and taking a picture.
That's a very good point. I didn't think about that.
So if conventions cannot sell that, because they could do an autograph and
that's what brings the people in.
Right? But if you can't do a photo op, that goes into their guarantee. So now, how much is this celebrity going to cost? So are the celebrities going to start taking a cut? Are they going to say, instead of charging you $10,000 as a guarantee, I'm only going to charge you $3,000
into the pictures? They just take a picture of whatever celebrity and just Photoshop them in afterwards.
There we go. Yeah.
That's a green screen, right? Yeah.
Right. So there's those things, but then they're also doing panels online. So why do I need to pay to go to a panel when I can just watch it online for free? But it is different. And what about cosplayers? Can you get photos with cosplayers anymore?
It's a brand new world,
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have to really think about what changes need to be made and just try to keep a good balance, right? I mean, like, you can't live in fear forever, but you also got to keep it safe. And so
there's also traveling too.
Yeah, there's traveling and
flying and
right. So
I mean, and that's where if we do store signings, we'll drive.
Yes.
So that if there is a second wave, we can just go home.
You're not losing
get
anything.
gas and drive.
Yeah. It's
right.
It's staying local.
Well,
it's
Yeah. So, and we would go farther than local, hit a few states. We're looking at possibly Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico. So a nice little circle in our neck of the woods
tour.
here.
Yeah. I think it also, I was thinking about doing that. The only reason why I can't do that is because, I got my family back home. I got 2 kids that I got to go. So, that I got to take care of. So for me to leave for like 3 days and then come back home that I can do. But for me to drive out to like multiple states, and that's why I think it's really an individual thing, because your strategy, that's the right strategy. That's a safe strategy. That's what I would do if I was in a position to go out and drive to all these different states and then come back. And, I might consider that. Now, go ahead.
You'd combine it with your family vacation. Take your kids, go stay, find out what's going on in different areas, hotels that have nice pools or little water parks in them, camping, whatever's open and available, on a smaller scale. You could take your family camping and then kind of move. And
they've released like guidelines, right, of things that are like, the safety level between doing certain things, and staying at hotels and going camping are like super low, like essentially.
Yeah. We're already planning a trip to over the summer. We're going out to for a week to Tennessee. But again, if I'm on vacation, I don't know how many shops I'll be able to go to when I'm with the kids and all that.
You can't
all that fun stuff.
But you can do like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah,
a couple of days, different stores along the way.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we're coming to the close. Do us a favor, do one last shout out. This is your chance. Take it away.
Yeah, okay. So Confessions of a Cosplay Diva. It launched on the 18th on Cara's birthday, and it's currently up past $25,000. So many things have been unlocked: stretch goals, expansion goals. She's got some crazy things on here. She's got some jewel covers. She's got some like linen original character covers. Like just like this campaign's got it all if you like cosplay. So definitely go and check that out.
Beautiful.
What do you got?
That's it. That's all I got.
All right. That's what we got.
My friends, I wish you the best of luck with your Kickstarter campaign. I will definitely chip in once I'm in a position to do so. Cara, I'm having you back on Friday. Is that what's happening? I guess. Okay, excellent.
Damn right.
All right. Damn right. All right. So you're coming back on Friday. We're gonna chat some more. Alfred, you're welcome to come back too. Why the hell not? This is a live invitation. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'll hang out backstage, and I'll just close up here, and we'll talk for a minute. All right, excellent. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. This episode was one of my favorites. I always have fun talking with Alfred and Cara, and I will see you guys tomorrow with a brand new guest, brand new episode. And until that time comes,